I ask him, I say, how long do you expect this burning to last?
For the rats, it lasted until they were dead, but... Oh... You're my first humanoid experiment, so... I'm not exactly sure for now. It's still burning, but it's tapering off really slowly.
Interesting. I cringe some more and I say, well, how long did the rats live for?
Oh, not long at all, maybe half a minute.
I kind of grimace and say, well, at least it's been over half a minute.
You do seem to be better off than the rats.
Okay, I'm going to add to your spell list. Spell
Wait,
called...
no. Just message it to me.
Okay.
Secrets.
Okay. Now we can resume with the rest of it. I think since we've concentrated on resolving that, we should pay a little bit of attention to Nye for now.
Let's see what Nye is up to.
So you've received information on the whereabouts of the strange, often hooded figures who were in the slave pits on Misery Row. They've been meditating in their chambers, from what you've seen, and acting very strange, very different from the rest of the slaves. You've followed the trail of one of the people who bought one of the slaves that was harmed, and two of them who were acting strangely and meditating and chanting in their chambers and that sort of thing, and they've taken them off to another place, and you've been on their trail for probably the past day. And your search has led you to this shop.
Right. Is that where I'm left? Is that where I'm left?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the general layout of this building.
The front door that people normally enter to use this as a normal costume shop is locked. However, you also know and personally saw that there is a door through the alleyway that is behind a banner and has a lock right in front of you.
Right. Okay,
Okay, so you're holding this silver lock in your hand. Using kind of your intuition, you've had probably a little bit of experience with the locks before, but you're not exactly sure how to open this one. You haven't seen one of this make. It's probably foreign from Absalom. And you are able to just sort of intuitively kind of guess your way around the lock, and it opens rather quickly.
Okay, before I open the door, I'm gonna do a quick perception, try to listen if there's anything on the other side.
You try to hear in without opening the door, and you can't hear a thing so far.
Right. Gonna slowly open the door, peek my head around.
This door is extremely thick. It's obviously a secret entrance, so it's literally part of the back wall, and Are you closing the door behind you, I'm guessing?
Well, one would assume.
Yeah. You see that it fits seamlessly back into place, and it's not very obvious that this is a secret door from the inside.
Well, otherwise it wouldn't be a secret door.
Right. You see kind of a sheet in front of you, which would open up into a greater sort of space.
Right. So
And you can begin to hear some people scuffling their feet and the occasional whispering.
Right. So I'm in just like a little room on the side.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, you can hear kind of the flames and the candle sconces flapping around and kind of sparking from the wax.
Okay. So do I hear these voices and scuffling from behind this sheet?
Yes.
Right. So probably just gonna kind of lift it and peek in.
You can see that there is an elf sitting up on what may be some kind of an obsidian altar. It seems like it's supported by a wooden table, but then the top is a sheet of obsidian stone. And you also see people in somber or ridiculous costumes. You see one person who is in, or more likely two people who are in a unicorn costume. Another person who is extremely tall in a devil or some sort of fiendish sort of costume. You see somebody who's dressed up as a witch, kind of a hag sort of thing. Very green, pustules everywhere. You also see three people in the corner who are tied up, and then each of them have face paint on. You also see a hooded figure with its back to you right in front of you, and you see kind of like a ghostly figure that you can kind of see straight through.
Okay. Either this is the world's worst pantomime, or I've stumbled something rather odd. So, I'm not going to try and make sure this, but so that's just what I see.
Mm-hmm. It seems the only people who aren't in costume are a tiefling and an elf. The elf is sitting on the table itself, looking rather sick. And you, of course, I'm assuming aren't in costume yourself.
But I don't tend to bring those along, to be honest.
Right.
It's not part of my regular getup.
A couple of people notice you and seem to kind of acknowledge that you're there, but don't interact with you, or one of them kind of welcomes you in.
Well, I wasn't exactly planning on stealthing through, so I'll just sort of walk in slowly and observe what's going on, sort of incredulously.
As you walk closer and get past somebody who is standing, who is blocking your view, you can see that the elf has a small cut on his arm, bleeding out slightly.
Still not entirely sure what to think of the situation. Is anyone doing anything?
You can see that the elf is making arrangements to... He seems to be pulling out a book of some sort, and then this other person had a book that was already out. And a person in a rat costume kind of shoves the money towards the elf, and the elf seems to be pulling out a book and starting to copy with a quill what's on the Rat King's book.
I'm trying to figure how I would react.
It's sort of a bizarre situation, isn't it?
It's getting described first time.
It's an incredibly motley group. You can see that the sort of ghostly figure is also, perhaps through illusory means, but maybe also because he really isn't, or he really is like a ghost or something like that. He's able to phase through objects. He seems incorporeal.
Snageki.
Uh-huh.
Right. Not entirely sure what needs doing at the moment. How does one react to people in costumes and an injured elf writing something in accordance to a rat king? I'm gonna keep my eye on the ghostly guy, because that's what... Among all the things in this room, this main thing catching my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice.
He is, in fact, after you study him for such a long time, out of your curiosity, you can tell that he is not actually there. He is an illusion.
Right.
And he's dressed in sort of frontier person sort of gear with sort of themes of green and purple. And he wears a dark green hood over his head, and his face is very standard.
So did this getup remind me of anything? Do I need more knowledge?
No, not in particular. Seems like the
Okay.
attire of a lot of different rangers and people who are wandering around in the forest.